What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Game Club, your monthly video game book club. This month, Kingdom Hearts. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friends and co-hosts. Say hello to the people, Connor, Elliott.
It's time for review day. Woo!
It was long-awaited, this one. Long-awaited. And in fact, the reason we're even recording it at all is because of the one and only Kingdom Hearts fan on the panel. Say hello to the people, Phil Shoemaker.
That's me. I'm the Kingdom Hearts guy. Kingdom Hearts fanatic, you might say. I love Kingdom Hearts.
We're here. This is, of course, your monthly video game book club in which, during the month, each of us play a game quietly in the background, and we wait until the beginning of each new month to come to you with a review of that game, and then we rank it amongst the other games in the series. We've done games such as the first 3 Metal Gear Solids. We've done Portal 1, Portal 2, Chrono Trigger, Resident Evils, a whole bunch of them. Make sure you check out the playlist down in the description below to get caught up on all of our opinions on a lot of really, really great games. And some not-so-great games. Which are which? You got to watch to find out. Including, watch this episode. And, gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into some of it real quick. Kingdom Hearts launched March 28th, 2002 for the PlayStation 2. It currently has a Metacritic of 85. And sales, as of 2006, the original game and the final mix version had sold 6 million copies on PS2. As of March 2022, the Kingdom Hearts series, the whole franchise, has shipped more than 36 million copies worldwide. So this is a banger.
Yeah.
No, it's literally not. I hear you on Tavin. Connor, I know this. Yeah, that's irrelevant. Kingdom Hearts is a series of action role-playing games created by Japanese game designers Tetsuya Nomura and Shinji Hashimoto, developed and published by Square Enix. It is a collaboration between Square Enix and the Walt Disney Company and is under the leadership of Nomura, a longtime Square Enix employee. Tetsuya Nomura was the creative director behind the game. Nomura, also widely known for being not the creative director. I forget his specific role on it, but heavily involved in Final Fantasy, specifically Final Fantasy VII. Did a lot of work on that. Did a lot of work on the, sort of worked as a adjunct creative director for the Final Fantasy VII Remake series. Did a lot of things for Advent Children and Crisis Core and all that stuff. So, Nomura, big deal over at Square Enix, and kind of this is his baby right here, right? And if you don't know, for some reason you don't know, Kingdom Hearts is a crossover franchise between Final Fantasy and Disney characters. So you'll see guys from like Leon from Final Fantasy VIII and Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII hanging out with, Donald, Goofy, Mickey Mouse. You explore a bunch of Disney worlds in this game and so forth. And you run around with the original originally made character for this franchise, Sora, in sort of his quest to find his friends Riku and Kairi. And so that they can be, great friends along the way. Now, Phil, you are our big Kingdom Hearts fan. You chose this game, and so I do want to give you the floor, for this to get us started. And I want to talk to you. What about this game works and maybe doesn't work for you? Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you about that. So I think in this particular playthrough, I think I'm still, I want to say, in terms of my total playthroughs of Kingdom Hearts 1, this might have been like my 5th or 6th total throughout my entire life. If not, maybe even less, because I want to say I've only played it a couple times as a kid. And then, we played through it, Tavin and I, back in, like February or March of 2021 on our streams. But in terms of like what kind of works for me and what doesn't work now playing through, I think a lot of it is, I got to get it right out of the way. A lot of it is nostalgia. Just from when playing it as a kid, this was kind of like my first foray into this kind of action RPG type game. Like first major dive into it, I should say. Beating enemies, leveling up, just in like an action stage that wasn't like Pokemon, because at this point my only real RPG experience as a child was with Pokemon. So to have a different form of that, along with a bunch of my favorite Disney characters, and telling a tale about friendship, it just really kind of clicked something in my brain, growing up. And and I did the classic Phil thing. Whenever I find something I really like, and I kind of made it my whole personality. My mom bought me a shirt, a Kingdom Hearts shirt. I would tell anybody that would not tell me to shut up about Kingdom Hearts. But that's the past, and this playthrough now, while I do acknowledge still that Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite game of all time, Kingdom Hearts 1, it can be really, really clunky at times. While I myself know the ins and outs of this game, like pretty much everywhere throughout this game, there are some very marked low points, I should say. The biggest one for me, me too, Tavin. The biggest one for me being the Tarzan World Deep Jungle. That world is an absolute slog to get through. Pathing isn't clear. Signposting rather is very, very hard to follow. That's kind of a negative in terms of a lot of like the signposting in this game, in terms of jumping world to world, where you're supposed to go next. And I want to say, when I played through it as a kid, it was really just like me guess and checking, right? Like the people tell you where to go, so then you have all this free time as a child, so then you're like, oh, let me try to go to this world and see what happens. Let me try to go to this world and see what happens, until something happens and you hit whatever progression gate that needs to go, right? Of course, they do mention like it's just there are voiced cutscenes in this game, but I feel like overall it would have benefited more, in terms of like signposting and knowing where to go, is if those text conversations that aren't voiced, they're still like cutscenes technically, but like it's just big blobs of text and like voice boxes of characters talking. I feel like if those were voiced, it would probably be a lot better, in terms of like knowing where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do. Excuse me, I have a really like froggy throat today. But overall, I think the combat, the magic, the overall like game feel of this game still feels good to play for me. I know Tavin and Connor might have different opinions. I think a lot of there's a lot of like hurdles you have to climb on early, in terms of climb over rather, early on, to kind of dig into Kingdom Hearts, and that's like the control scheme. It's not the most intuitive thing in the world, jump for every other game on the PS2, virtually every other game on the PS2 is on the X button, whereas here it's the circle button. And that's mainly because the thing that you're attacking, the attacking is, you have a command board on the bottom left of your screen. And so you use the D-pad to kind of choose what command you want to use, whether that be attack, item, summon, magic, all that good stuff. You scroll with the D-pad and you hit the X button to select that command. And, with it defaulting to the attack button, X is, attack. And there are, shortcuts you can do for magic spells. Granted, you only get 3 of them, and they kind of fix that in the later games. They give you more options to select shortcuts and assign all of those. And there are, a lot of, I would say a lot of the control scheme in this game is I would use the word archaic. Like it's very, if that's the right word, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like it's very. It's not the most intuitive thing, I should say.
Yeah, I think archaic is a fine word to use. I would just say unusual.
Yeah, because archaic is like talking about older things, right? Like, because it's the arc.
So obviously, like it being it wanting to be an action game, but it deriving its roots from an RPG, a turn-based RPG at that. I understand the choices made and why they made them. I think clearly you can sort of delineate lineage here from or from this game to games like some of the later Final Fantasy games, specifically I think the 7 Remake series. That is a clear evolution of what they laid the groundwork there. in terms of like just how that battle system works. So I can kind of appreciate that for sure. Connor, I'm going to jump over to you now because this is your first time playing Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, I played through Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was a kid. Funny enough, when that game opened up, I was pretty lost, and when it inevitably shifts back to the character, Sora, who you play in this game, I was like, who the fuck's this guy? So now I know who that guy is, thanks to Kingdom Hearts 1. And there is more to criticize about this game than there is to praise.
Okay.
I'll start with the praise. The combat system is serviceable. I do like how it set the standard for what would become my favorite combat system in any video game, the Final Fantasy VII Remake/Rebirth entries in the revitalization, if you can call it that, of Final Fantasy VII.
Remakes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Well,
you
are
use a
they
bunch
really
of-
remakes?
You're doing a bunch of big words.
Are they really remakes, Tavin?
I mean, they are and they aren't. Both
See?
are true.
The revitalization seems appropriate, but I respect them for what they did with the combat system in that regard, which, of those of you that don't know, you have basically an RPG menu system that you navigate through, but you act as if though it's an action-adventure game. Plays more like an action-adventure game. But while this system does work at a bare minimum, and I do like the rollout of the abilities that you get, but ultimately, it's found very lacking. Sticking with combat right now, very often I find that the combat encounters are mainly difficult because the way the camera is framed, you're getting hit with things that you can't see. And that's only the way you usually get hit for most of the game. I think that kind of stops happening near the end where a bunch of other problems come into play. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But very often I would just get hit with off-screen projectiles to the point where the game seemed like it was difficult, not because the game was naturally made that way, but it wasn't made up to the standard that they were aiming for. And a lot of the reason why I think of that is it's like going into the end game content. A lot of times you fight enemies, it's in areas that aren't built for the enemies that you're fighting. Very often they go into spaces where you can't access, and if you fall off the spot where they're floating above, you'll get sent to some other location and it'll restart your combat encounter again. And so you're ultimately just unable to interact with those people that are out of the boundaries. But again, that's something that comes into play more later. The rollout of abilities, while they are interesting, Tavin and me had talked about it in private at length, and how it has to reduce the things you're capable of doing to facilitate gameplay progression. So it seems like they're basically cutting your knees out from under you so you can play a more structured game, but the structure just isn't really that great because you'll have to, like, more than midway through the game, you get your high jump ability, and presumably it's supposed to facilitate movement traversal and to access areas that you had gone through in the past that now have extra items you can find. But the other issue is that while the game tries to frame itself as one where you can go back to worlds you previously explored to uncover new secrets, you have no incentive to do so. Partly due to the fact that the incentives aren't really valuable. A couple extra items. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I
mean, you can get some like upgrade materials, like MP up, AP ups.
If you get all the Dalmatians, you get the final level of the wind spell, Eroga.
That is good because that spell is good. That spell is a savior.
I didn't really use it.
It not only it gets to the point where not only does it reduce damage, it also inflicts damage on touch. It does touch damage.
Very valuable.
Cool.
But the problem is, I don't want to go around and find those 100 Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians. And
99, but yeah.
A lot of that is inherently baked into the level design, which it sends you every which way, because every single time you go to a new world, it's obviously trying to have you accomplish some sort of task, but it just makes you go from this location to that location, to here, to there, to over there, and all within a world that all feels very similar. It just empty spaces where they'll sometimes throw enemies at you, but overall, you're just trying to get through the levels as much as possible because nothing's really inspiring about them. Even when you're in, like, the Little Mermaid world, which ideally, when you start including underwater levels, you'll have some kind of depth to it, but rather it just has boring levels that you've been playing through the entire course of the game, and also limiting the amount of abilities that you have access to that you spent all of these hours unlocking. And now, going back to the gameplay, the bosses themselves, they aren't really memorable. There's one that I can think of as being quality, and even then it's contentious depending on who you ask.
Which one is that?
It would be. It's the second fight with, what's his fucking name? Riku, but it's not really Riku. He's possessed. It's
Riku
It's
Anthem.
it's the second Riku.
the second Riku fight.
Yeah.
Besides that,
I will not let you take Kyrie's heart.
and you don't. But that's really the only boss fight I can really think that has any worth. And I was touching a little bit on the level design and how it just doesn't feel very, it doesn't feel worth interacting with, whether it's going back to explore worlds that you've already been to or just doing the more than the bare minimum of what the game is demanding of you to progress the plot. Which to say the plot isn't really all that special. It's just basically MacGuffin after MacGuffin. Chase your friend to, you're not even really chasing your friend because whatever. I won't get into that. But,
I'll get into it.
yeah. So, yeah, and very often the game just seems like it's incomplete. Not only with how the level design works with the enemies you're fighting, but so often in a cutscene, Sora will, the camera will shift to Sora after being on one character talking or whatever, and he has this disgusting, evil look on his face, just blank, empty eyes that are staring out into the horizon at nothing, and it's unsettling. If it was in real life, it would be unsettling, I should say. In a video game, it just comes across as and part of my knowledge with Kingdom Hearts 2, where they're very expressive, even when they're not the focus of a scene, like they're reacting to somebody doing something, they put a lot of effort into the animation, and that just was not here at all. And that also seems kind of obvious.
For the record, that's not exclusive to Sora. It's just the thing where, depending on like if it's like pre-rendered or not, it'll be the actual full animation, or it'll just be like the blip, 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 mouth flapping.
Yeah, this specific thing that he's talking about, I chalked up to PS2 jank.
Yeah.
But again, it seems like there's something there. Like there's supposed to be a voice. It's just multiple times his like blank, like looking at you, just no expression. Like they didn't know what to do with the model of the character, and they had nothing externally happening. There's no conversation going on. It's him reacting to something, and yet he's not actually reacting to it. He's just looking at it. And this happened a lot.
It happens a lot.
I came across a lot. And it adds to this idea of, that in the level design, that there wasn't much time spent on this game, especially with, once again, my knowledge of Kingdom Hearts 2, where these issues are non-existent. I don't think about how the level design is bad like I do in this game.
The animation thing that you're complaining about is still there in Kingdom Hearts 2.
It's still there.
Like, I guess
that's why I'm like, this is some PS2 jank stuff. Like,
I'll find out.
It is.
But
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like,
non-issue.
it's weird, but like, it's a bit of the sign of the times. But it also feeds into sort of my critique of the game as well. Yeah, I agree with you on. I don't think this game is finished.
And that might come through in the combat, because I did say it was serviceable. It was good enough. But near the end, you kind of get tired of pressing X over and over and over again, because it's basically just a matter of which enemy do you want to stun lock while you get their health down. And very often the game will try to add depth by including its parry system, which sometimes I would do it. I would think I would do it like the timing correctly, but there's so many things going on screen that I'll hit like an enemy that pops up in front of me, or I do anything that's not trying to specifically parry the enemy attack. And that wouldn't be the worst thing if it was optional, but there are certain enemies, particularly these fat guys that constantly pop up. Their main way to deal with them after you get them down to half health is to parry them. And so when the system just doesn't work, it not only doesn't feel satisfying, but it becomes very obnoxious. And again,
are you referring to the guard or to attack at the same time they're attacking?
Attack at the same time they're attacking.
Okay.
Yeah, guard. I guess I could have used that, but guard, I never really. I when you're so incentivized to button mash to try and get through enemies, doing things like guarding when you could just dodge don't really pop into your mind at that moment. And I guess that would have probably solved my problem with the bodyguard fat guys.
I don't think it would have.
You don't think it would have?
I don't think it would have.
It's to that degree, some enemy designs just don't really work. There's one that does, you have to always get behind them, but they constantly can turn around very quickly and do massive amounts of damage to you.
The large bodies you're referring to, yeah?
Yes. There's wizard characters that will disappear, but even when they're still there, it won't allow you to hit them because they're in their teleportation animation, which would always, very often, just put them in those locations I was talking about before, where you just can't hit them, even with spells. I mean, the spells, they're nice, and they progress them in a natural way, like Phil was bringing up. I liked the arrow ability. Yeah. It allowed you to block attacks. And unfortunately, that felt like a necessity at certain points of the game, because the boss fights would very often kill you by stun locking, by just getting you involved in bullshit. Especially the final boss, the giant. What's his fucking name? The giant demon. He has a name.
Ansem.
Turnibok. No, to Turnibok. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
From Fantasia.
I would have to use that the air ability just so I wouldn't get stun locked because it curtails that. And it wasn't exactly a fun way to interact with enemies. And I guess I'll finish this up by saying the narrative is very not there almost at all.
See, and this is where I want to jump in.
Yeah.
All right.
But a genius.
Yeah. Right.
Cinema.
So the difference, but I had an interesting time playing this game. I would say my opinion has altered on Kingdom Hearts since my first time playing through. And really what that is between my first playthrough and this playthrough, I went off and I went back to school and started studying thematic elements and arts and genre and exploring different types of storytelling. And I had a little breakout piece of the piggy bank months ago at this point. You can still find the video on the channel of this game. When you talk about narrative and how it doesn't make any sense or it's even like absent, Connor, you're right. Like the game starts and then the narrative pauses and then you go to all the Disney worlds and then the narrative begins again 30 hours later, right? But the thing about that to me is the narrative in the beginning is so clearly video games' best example of absurdism. The problem is that they stop. They stop doing that. So I think it might be the most like criticized part of the entire franchise is those opening few hours. That's my favorite part of this game is those opening like 2 hours where you're on the island running around doing dumb shit with your friends that like doesn't make any sense. They're having conversations that don't make sense. Phil brought up the game would be better if there was more voiced cutscenes. I agree. If it was less text box reading, I would and more voiced stuff, that would be better. But if it was also, but I still like it when we enter that weird zone where the camera's a little blurry and it's not even text boxes. It's just lines coming up on screen, like just the white lines on nothing. I love those scenes because those go back to that absurdism that the game was playing into in the beginning, which is so fucking fascinating. And if you want a more detailed breakdown of what that means to me, you can go see that other video.
Do you want to know? With the exception of the scene with Kyrie and her grandma in Hollow Bastion, do you know who's talking to you in those white text scenes?
Well, it changes from scene to scene. Because sometimes it's Kyrie and Grandma, like you were just talking about. Often I think it's Ansem.
Nope.
Or Riku.
Anytime besides the scene between Kyrie and her grandma specifically, any other time, it's Mickey Mouse.
I fucking knew it.
I think that's Nomura retcon shit. Because that doesn't feel like the intention in the game. And that leads me to let me get through all my shit.
Yeah.
That leads me to my big thing about this game. This game does not feel finished at all. From any level of critique you want to approach it from, whether it's level design, signposting, combat, story, voice acting, nothing feels finished. And I think that kind of makes sense because game development is non-linear inherently. You've got a combat team off here doing something. You've got a level design team off here doing something. You've got a narrative team off here doing something, and they all build up together, right? It's not like movies where like you have to go film the scene, you have to go write the scenes, and then you got to go find where you're going to go film them, and then you go film them, and then you come back and you edit it, and then you put special effect. Like that's a very linear process. Video games don't work that way. So it makes sense why across the board, nothing in this game I would say is good. There's nothing good about this game. There are things that are interesting about this game. There are things that make me go, oh, that's fascinating, or that's interesting about it. But the act of playing it is atrocious. All of that to say, I don't believe Kingdom Hearts as a franchise has ever really reached its potential. I think this first game was shooting for something, and then we very quickly, and then for whatever reason, the game came out in the state that it is, and then we very quickly went on to make more, and we pivoted, and we moved into something else. And we never really, accomplish the potential. We never really achieved our potential that we were shooting for in this first game. Now, I could go off and play Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2 and whatever. I could go replay some of that and feel differently about that take than I do now. But to my memory of, I've only played Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. I had a better time with Kingdom Hearts 2 on hype. Again, I'm going to have to go back and revisit the game to like see how I feel about it for the purposes of this show. But to my memories of Kingdom Hearts 2, they never achieved what Kingdom Hearts 1 set out to do in the first place. And that's fine. It's just, I think what it set out to do in the first place is more interesting than anything it ever does later, personally. On top of that, just to kind of repeat pretty much everything that you two gentlemen have said, but I'm going to be a little meaner about it, but with the asterisks of I don't believe anything is finished here. So like if there was another year of dev time, I believe we would have gotten a way better game. Combat, I think, is actually atrocious in this game. They do a thing in this game with its gameplay loop where, Connor, you were kind of hinting at it, but it feels like they had a decent combat loop, and they ran out of time to build upon that. So instead of building upon it, they deconstructed it. So what you end up at the end should have been what you had at the beginning, but instead they then start taking things away from you as the player in order to create this false sense of progression. The jump is a great example of that. The beginning hours of this game, that is one of the worst jumps in video games I've ever experienced. That is a terrible, terrible jump. It feels awful. You're very often falling off of a platform that you meant to jump on because there's a weird squatting animation. It's like a frame or two where Sora has to squat before he jumps. And if you don't give but your forward momentum continues. So if you don't have enough runway in that forward momentum, then the animation can't finish, so Sora can't jump, so you just end up walking off. And on top of that, forward momentum means nothing to his jump. So you learn to just stop doing that until later when you get the actual jump that works. Then like all of those things start like mattering a little bit more, right? Because it functions as an actual jump. Combat, I think, is the same way. Just the act of swinging the sword takes too long. And the only thing that matters is where the Keyblade is, not where Sora is, not where the enemy is, not where the enemy attack is coming from. The parry system that you brought up, this is the worst parry system I've ever seen in a video game ever. It may as well just not even be there. Because it's random. Like you can pretend and be like, oh no, like you can like plan it out and stuff like that. But realistically, you won't ever really get your hands around the system. Not really, outside of boss fights. But in just general combat or just fighting hordes upon hordes of enemies, these attack animations are so quick and they don't give enough lead time, and it's impossible to figure out the timing for these parries that you're supposed to do. And even when you do, just the way that initial swing animation works, like, it's just inconsistent all the way through.
And I should say I got used to it eventually, but as you say, the basic enemies I couldn't do that to, or at least I didn't bother trying to learn. It was only those fat guys, because they clearly showed they're going to charge at you and be indestructible, and you got to.
I mean, even in that, Phil brought up the block and the dodge are both tied to square. I almost never press that button in this because it's easier to just jump away, in my opinion, and get out of the way. In that way, I felt like the jump was safer as well. But I will say generally, I had an easier time progressing through this game than I did on hype. If you've watched the hype playthrough, I struggled very hard through that. Didn't really struggle that much throughout this game. It's just that when I did die or fail, it just never felt earned. The game didn't earn my death, so I was always frustrated every single time I died. Level design and signposting is atrocious. Like, it is really bad. I don't think there's really any good levels in this game. Like, from a design, like, wipe away the aesthetic of the worlds and just look at like the gray box design of them. It's all terrible. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You don't know where to go. It's frustrating to get around. Yeah, there's just not really a lot good about this game. I will say, just in the terms of like how satisfying it is to power up and level up and stuff, there's some fun in the middle hours, I think. I think the beginning hours are frustrating. I think the ending hours, there's a difficulty spike that shoots way too high and the game gets annoying to interact with. But in the middle hours, it is kind of like there's like an enjoyment to just battering around enemies again and again and again, I think it overstays its welcome. I think it gets boring eventually because it is just mashing X the whole time. The combos, are flashy, but when you're just mashing X, it doesn't feel like I'm active in it. It just feels like I'm passively going, all right, now I'm going to fight this guy now. All right, now I'm going to kill this guy now. All right, now I'm going to kill this guy now, as you just whittle down these health bars. Generally, I think this game is just a miss, like a hard miss. Oh God, and don't even get me started on the gummy ship. That's one of the worst things in video game history. It's terrible.
Not good.
It's so bad. It's so ugly, like to look at and play through. It doesn't feel like the target doesn't feel like you're shooting at the target. It feels like you're shooting below the target because of how the 3D oriented camera and space is with it. It's just not good.
It messes up pacing too.
Oh God, they get so long, and you're in these fucking gummy ship sections for what feels like upwards of 5 minutes, and I'm like, why am I still here?
Definitely an aspect they probably should just not had in the games in general.
Yeah,
but I guess we can kind of open it up more to everybody. I want to hear what Phil says because
we like this game more. Phil's been on the bench.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like in terms of like Connor and both of you guys, like I feel like a lot of the stuff that you're saying is valid, but like there's a lot of things that I think of when you're complaining about these things, and it's like, well, you're just not interacting with some of the other aspects of the game, like the large bodies, Connor, that you're having so much trouble with. You can just use magic on them, and it goes through their belly shields.
If they have it, I would do that. It's only if they weren't. Most of the time when they did that, they weren't close enough to death.
But also, magic's not powerful enough for that to make magic. Magic, I think, is for the most part invalid in this game because it just doesn't do enough.
I was just about to say. So I was going to lean into that. You saying that into just how baffling it is, like how many of like the systems in this game that are just hidden for no reason. One of them being like the kind of level up ability gaining based on like what thing you choose and what thing you give up in the beginning. Your level scaling based on like what answers to the questions you get in the beginning.
But doesn't that kind of balance itself out as you progress through the game?
I mean, not really. It's just weird because like there's the morning path, which is you hit all the ones at the top, and you level really fast in the beginning, and then
what he's talking about, if you don't know, you get asked a series of questions. There's 3 answers if you answer the top question, middle question, bottom question. Or
top answers is the morning path, middle answers is the midday, and then the bottom answers are night. So if you choose the morning path, you level up really fast in the beginning, and then as it starts to taper off towards the end. If you pick the midday path, you get it's pretty standard level scaling. And then if you hit the night path, you level really slow in the beginning, and then it level up really fast towards the end. And it's just very, very odd the way they decide to do that. And also the magic strength mechanic being tied to exactly how many magic bars you have. So your magic is stronger depending on your max MP. So the more magic bars you have, the stronger each of your spells will be. And that's not like how many you have left.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah. So however of your max MP you have, the more of those bars you have, the stronger each of your spells will be. Which is just it's really weird that it's tied to that, and it never tells you that's how it works, and it's just really weird.
It seems like it's a symptom of the same problem with lack of signposting. And in the levels, you just go every which way. It reinforces the idea that this is just not a complete game. They didn't have enough time to even tutorialize
explain everything
properly. Much less develop things to a point where there's.
And that's wild. That's wild complaining that like there's not enough tutorial in a Kingdom Hearts game, even when Kingdom Hearts 2 that prologue exists. Like holy shit.
Yeah, I like that prologue.
No, it's so
I don't remember it, but I don't remember them doing a good job of like tutorializing the actual mechanics. It's just them fucking around for 2 hours.
It's funny you think it's 2 hours.
Yeah, it's in the same way you said the island was 2 hours. It's like 1. Yeah, that one's way longer.
Okay, sure. The
one in Kingdom Hearts 2 is like 4 hours long. It's ridiculous.
But that's not this game. Like This game doesn't
No, I'm just saying.
tutorialize you well at all. Like,
Yeah,
they don't
no,
even
absolutely.
explain the parry system to you like I thought they did in Hype, but that turned out to just be Phil explaining it to me. But yeah, they don't even explain the parry system to you at all.
And-
And there's just a lot. There's just a lot they just don't do. It's just not here. And even to the point of the text box conversations where they take the voice acting out, there's no like rhyme or reason to what conversations give you voice acting or give you text bubbles. Even Yakuza follows like some type of rules of like, all right, this is going to be a really high budget cutscene because it's a very important plot moment. So there's going to be voices here and it's going to be fully animated here. This is important to the plot, but it's not like a major moment. So there will be voice acting, but there's no animation. And then this is just a who gives a fuck conversation. So it's in the game engine. It's two character models staring at each other. They're not animated. They're just looking at each other. And then text boxes show up. Like, there's rules to Yakuza. There's no rules to the Kingdom Hearts conversations outside of when we want to get weird, we get weird. That's when the voices drop out and the text bubbles fall away. And it's just that weird text and that thing that Phil is saying where Mickey Mouse is talking to you. That feels like a retcon to me. Because it, like, generally, that didn't feel like the intention.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's because he's talking to you from the void, because like he's in Kingdom Hearts, like the realm of darkness or whatever.
That's the Mickey
So,
Mouse
yeah,
moments, though.
Sure, yeah, but we're
Yeah.
just saying things at this point.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, as somebody who played 2 and 3, I've always had a very hardline opinion that the elements of the Kingdom Hearts games that drag the whole franchise down are the focus on Disney elements, and the best parts of it are the Kingdom Hearts, even to the point where Final Fantasy characters, though that might be biased. Maybe not. No,
I think the
it's not.
Final Fantasy holds it back more than Disney.
Yeah, I don't think that at all.
I think all of it is a double-edged sword because all of it is like conceptually, all of it is cool. And if you take any of those elements away, it does take something away from the spirit and the heart of the game. But at the same time, there's a lot of moments where it's also like, fuck, I don't care about the Pinocchio whale. I don't want to be here.
Well, see, I'm talking more about 2 and 3, right?
Sure.
And the Final Fantasy elements, like I said, it might be my own personal bias coming in, but it always seemed more interesting than just the backdrop of a Disney world, which really seems to be the core of how Disney is implemented beyond Mickey and all of his retinue, Donald and Goofy and whatnot. But this game, What?
Oh, sorry, I was gonna ask, what are your favorite Final Fantasy elements of 3?
3, it's more about 2, where the Final Fantasy elements come in. But
Because there are no Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's an issue where it's kind of even worse because it's only just Disney stuff or mainline Kingdom Hearts narrative. And from my time in that game, I never beat it, admittedly, because it just kept throwing Disney bullshit at me, and I was like, I'm done. Why are you not progressing the third game in a franchise?
It's the only thing I'd be interested in playing in Kingdom Hearts 3.
You see, it's the only thing that's there. But I say all of this to say that Kingdom Hearts 1 has none of that on either side. I was never interested in the Final Fantasy characters. They were very one note, and they came in.
Why is
Madden.
Cloud like some weird like amalgamation of himself and Vincent? Like he's like so moody and emo, and it's really weird.
There was a long period of time. This is my understanding from talking to Final Fantasy VII fans. There was a long period of time where Cloud's character kind of got mischaracterized.
Yeah. By fans.
By fans, and so the creators started playing off of what the fans believed Cloud was. And it really isn't until 7 Remake that they kind of fix it.
I would push back in terms of Kingdom Hearts because the whole entire point of Cloud's character is he's fighting with his dark side, his heartless side, which is Sephiroth. And the whole thing is that takes the place of...
Canon.
What's it?
It's canon.
It's canon. It is canon. But comparing it to Final Fantasy VII...
In more ways than even Phil knows.
Yeah. in the original Final Fantasy VII, Cloud's, edgy characteristics that have, been received by fans, it was all fake, right?
Yeah.
Because he took someone else's identity.
Yeah.
In this case, it makes more sense because he hasn't come to terms with his dark half, and it's caused problems in his own relationship. So this mainly comes into it too. But
I don't think Cloud has a dark half is the thing.
it's Sephiroth.
Like, he pretends to have a dark half. Sephiroth's fucking with him, yeah, sure. But like, when he's little boy Cloud, yeah, he's just a little sad boy. Like, you're just a loser, dude. Get over it. And then when now we're on a Final Fantasy VII tangent.
I know.
And then when he gets his personality back in 7, he becomes, it's that let's mosey guy. It's that, all right, I'm the guy, we're the people, let's go do it. You know?
Yeah, and
Like,
I just like
He's kind
I
of
see
dorky.
the
he's a
Sephiroth-
dork.
He is a dork, yeah. But that's why I see the Sephiroth Heartless plot replacing the whole I'm replacing my own personality and my own experiences with somebody else. It's supposed to
Yeah, again, I
substantiate
think
for
that's that same thing of like, that's why he is the way he is in Advent Children, of like, everybody thinks he's this like dark, like
Yeah.
edge boy, and he's not. You know, that's the
Yeah.
whole point of 7 is that he's not that, but you know.
But this is all to say that there were really no elements narrative-wise that made me attached to this game or its characters at all. You know, the best credit I can give it, and it came out of nowhere too, when the end played. And again, this might be my nostalgia for Kingdom Hearts 2 coming into play. But when that final cutscene plays, it's the more cinematic one. What's the song that plays? What's
Simple clean.
Simple Clean?
Simple and clean. Yeah, I
Simple
cried
and
as a
clean.
kid.
Yeah, and see, even
It's
as an
such
adult,
an abrupt cut in. It
is,
comes in so hard.
but something about it works. It's the most emotionally resonant moment in that entire game, which sucks because it's at the end.
I don't agree, but
You don't. What is then?
to me,
Yeah.
it's the weird mystery cave on the island. That's the best part of the game to
that's
me.
not-
I
I get
fucking
you.
love that cave.
I get you like that. That's
Yeah.
not developed enough for me to.
I
care
just
about.
don't. Yeah, again, it's an execution thing where like that music comes in out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Yes.
You hadn't heard it since you clicked new game on it, so like you probably don't remember it because it's 30 hours ago. And you've been introduced to so many other elements from there that like, yeah, when the music cuts in, you're supposed to be like, oh yeah, the music, yeah, this is the theme, but like. It's just not if it was used more, like, or if it popped up in more places, or if the melody of that song was the battle theme or something like that, then it would be cooler.
I disagree because the song is good and it's more.
But that's how a game like Fire Emblem Three Houses works. They play you a song in the beginning, and then that song is the battle theme. So then when they play the song again at the end, you go, "Oh, we get the lyrics now. Cool!" Like that's a cool moment. You play it once in the beginning and then once at the end, and you go, "They're playing the song," and I like the song. It's a good song.
All the music in this game in this series is fantastic.
You know what? Yeah, I'll give the music as far as like elements I can praise. The music's probably at the top there. You know, is it
Sure.
so amazing? No.
I think it's fine.
It's good, but it's not
great.
Certain tracks are great. Well, certain tracks are amazing, like that
I love it
final
all.
one. But comprehensively, it's a good soundtrack.
The battle theme's good.
It's good, yeah,
Other than that, I don't remember any other real themes that are like memorable.
but they're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
not memorable.
Traverse
they're
Town,
good.
bro.
Which, to your point, that's the only level that's good. Like,
Traverse Town?
Yeah, only level.
It's the most fun, but it's still confusing because you still don't know where you're going.
I think it was always the only problem was in later parts, and this more of a problem with the signposting rather than Traverse Town, where you're supposed to find.
You got to
like,
go to this deep corner to get to
Yeah.
the sewers, and you would never go here normally ever, and there's nothing that points you in that direction.
Point of shame, I will admit, that's the only time and the first time in a long time I've looked up where to go in a video game story because I was just like, where?
Dude, Wonderland was driving me crazy. Which is
It
the
shows
first
you.
fucking
It
level.
shows you that. It shows you that area with the sewer thing.
Yeah.
Right before you fight guard armor, the first boss.
And I
In Traverse
stopped playing the game, and so that little bit of separation was like,
just
where
saying.
am I going again? Oh, I get what you're saying. You know,
Well, it's the game's first boss. You're probably 5 hours deep at that point, so you're probably at the end of your first real playthrough or play session.
Yeah.
it's more that the
Session, yeah.
to access the sewers, you need to take advantage of these things that they include called trinities.
The Trinities.
Which,
yeah.
which are stupid. Because again, it tries to push you to say, "Oh, you can go back to this other level," but it's always like, "Oh, I get a mega potion." All right,
I don't think the Trinities are stupid. They do need to be like more
Built
level,
upon, yeah.
more level effective
Yeah.
Trinities, like the ones where you bash
Yeah.
through walls or the ones you climb
I
up to
agree.
new areas. Yeah,
yeah,
I
When it's
agree,
just
but-
we're hitting the Trinity and then a chest appears. That is lame.
which is most of them, unfortunately.
And
Most of the blue ones, yeah.
yeah.
The white ones, those are like the last Trinity that you get access to. They give you some of like the best weapons in the game.
If only I was wanting to play the game more by the time I unlocked those trinities.
Just saying.
I agree.
Did you guys craft anything with the Moogle shop?
I
Sure.
did, yeah.
yeah,
I crafted everything I could, which was
Nice.
a pretty big chunk of the stuff. It was useful.
I don't think it's
You
a huge
I
chunk
bet-
of the stuff. There's
I
clearly
bet
like
you guys.
levels
I
to
bet
it
you
that they
guys
come in
didn't get
later.
Ultima Weapon.
No, definitely did
no.
not. No. Well, there was a lot of stuff, and I think a lot of it's tied to the gummy
What?
ship, isn't it?
No, it's a lot of it is tied to special heartless that appear in certain areas only like every couple times you show up.
I remember one from the Tarzan one. It's the guy on the rock
one
where he
sucks.
splits.
So
That
it's
one
like
sucks.
so it's like random appearing enemies in random
no.
levels.
Not the one Connor's talking about. Yes, Tavin, it is random enemies appearing in certain levels. So there are certain rooms in each level that have a special heartless. This is exclusive to the final mix version of the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the one I'm talking about that sucks is the there's like a big mushroom heartless that shows up in the treehouse. After you use magic on 3 other mushrooms in that same area.
Is this Phil? I had a thing in Agrabah. I was in the middle of my Agrabah play through. I hadn't finished Agrabah. Like I was still like in the middle of it, and I went to Agrabah's basically like one hallway, and then like you like split off into things. So I went to the end of that hallway, and I fought in that level. There are in a lot of the levels, but in this one specifically, there's spiders in jars. Like and like the legs pop out of the jars, and you fight the jar, right? I fought a scorpion in a jar.
Yes.
Is that one of these guys?
That is one of these guys.
Okay,
So,
great, because I died, came back later, and he would not come back.
Yeah. It's just a random thing.
Okay, cool.
So his thing is you show up and there's like the grid of all those different pots, and the trick is you have to you basically trigger him last by running into each of the jars to find out which one he's in, and the one that he's in won't move when you run into it. So you break all the other ones around him to get like little XP bonuses. And then when he finally appears, you have to guard all of his attacks and then hit him when he's upside down.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, because that was one that I was frustrated at because I was like, nothing's working. I don't know what to do.
I'm fairly certain he's invulnerable until he's upside down.
How overpowered is Tinkerbell?
Really overpowered.
Really overpowered.
You can't die.
That's how I got through Maleficent. Is fucking Tink.
Yeah, she is the summon for Maleficent for sure.
Maleficent.
Big dragon.
Yep.
You had
The
to
big
use
dragon?
her? Bad
Yeah.
gamer.
Okay.
My only issue
I
was
got through it a lot faster than you did.
probably did, yeah.
For sure.
Fuck Chernobog. So stupid.
Who?
Chernobog.
Oh yeah, I didn't have
big-
any problems with that one.
Yeah, guy from Fantasia. Yeah.
Yeah, again, probably because of Tinkerbell, but like also wasn't that tough, you know? That one, Connor, I watched you fight that one. His signal for the fire, which is what kept stun locking you, that signal's so obvious. Like
It's obvious,
It's
but
very obvious.
he would always do it right before his other attack. And so you had like no room to kill the guy. Like it would take forever.
Fair. I get it. Yeah. That happens a lot, though, where you're just
Especially
like...
the final boss. My God.
A lot of it feels random. Dude, the
Dude.
final boss where you got to like take the turrets out off of him and then fight like a main
Yup.
thing. Dude, so many times I was like, I don't think I died in that fight. Maybe once. Maybe I died once.
Yeah, it was a bad boss fight.
There were so many times where I'm like, this is random. Like, whether I live or die is not based off of my player skill at all.
I almost forgot. The item system sucks balls in this
Oh,
game.
it's terrible. It's
awful.
so bad.
Like, why can't you just have... I get it that you can only use one item that's delegated to your item slots.
So you have like 3 item slots.
Yeah.
So you can put like a potion, an ether, and a revive or
And
whatever.
when you use them, it's gone for that fight.
Yeah.
Battle.
That's the thing. That's another thing that changes depending on what you choose in the beginning and what you give up. You get more item slots.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If I choose to have potion in one of my item slots, let me just use the 57 fucking potions I have.
Well, no.
Yep.
I understand that.
I completely agree.
No, I think it's stupid.
No, I get
Giving
that
me
for
one
balance.
potion for a fight is fucking stupid.
But you have cure and you have
fixed
all...
that. They fixed that in Kingdom Hearts 2 if you assign it to a button prompt. So like it'll have however many you have
Your
in
hotkeys?
your your hotkey. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But you know, at that point, there's no reason to not have like cure in Kingdom Hearts 2 specifically. Cure, reflect, I don't know, and then 2 magic that are attacking. You know.
Did you just flip off the dog?
Yeah. She's looking right at me.
She wants out of the
I know.
the cage.
So I flipped her off.
All right.
But
Are you ready to rank it?
Oh,
Hold on, Phil. Hold on.
Jesus, yeah.
Whoa.
I didn't know if you had more. Okay.
I was just going to say,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
my core issue with the item mechanic is that you have to replace it. Go into those menus every single time you use them in a battle. Like, I get what they're trying to do to make it to where you don't just spam items, because you can get a lot in your inventory.
You're saying it's fine if I have the one for the battle, but then just replenish what I had after the battle.
Instead of every single time having to pause it and go do that over again.
Absolutely.
Also,
Absolutely
way too many fights. And they take way too long, especially at the end of the game where, Connor, you brought it up. Yeah, enemies start teleporting, and their teleporting animation takes fucking forever. So you're just sitting there looking at it going, all right, I can't touch you. All right, I can't touch you. Or they do that weird thing where they like flatten down to the ground or just like turn into like a vertical one piece thing. And I'm like, I guess I just can't touch you now. So like it makes already long fights even longer, and they're not worth fighting. The
companions also aren't the most effective. Goofy's good.
Goofy's great. Goofy's fucking
great.
phenomenal.
Yeah. He carries your team because Donald sucks.
Dude, there were times. No, well, I mean, Donald kept you alive because he's healing you and stuff. But
that's true.
He's doing good. He's doing a good job healing and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No.
He definitely. As soon as Donald dies, everybody dies.
Actually, I pushed that back. No, he's not. I so often would rely on him for healing, and he would
not
do
deliver.
It. No, he wouldn't.
He was probably out of MP because he
very quickly does that.
He heals way too fast. He jumps to the spells way too quick.
Really good. There's two really good abilities that Goofy will get like later in the game. HP gift and MP gift. They're really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yes, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice any of his other moves to do them.
Oh, how many of his like specialty moves did you put on him?
Probably a lot. I don't know.
The only one that I ever like have him use is Goofy Tornado.
Oh no, I definitely had more than that on.
The shield bash one, whatever that is.
Where he like charges forward. Yeah, his charge forward move is nasty. He was killing. In some fights, he was killing more than me.
Yeah.
I much prefer Goofy Tornado because he'll just gather them all together, and then you hit him with a thunder, and that's all she wrote.
The tornado is definitely great. The tornado is.
So it seems like
I got Rocket the fuck up out of there. Rocket sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess just be incentivized to not make use of a character's full kit.
Yeah, I mean, calm the fuck down. It's you want to use ones that you find which ones you like, and then you get rid of the ones that don't matter, and then you put on all like the utility abilities.
I do moderately enjoy the ability point system where each ability or move or buff or even debuff sometimes costs a certain number of AP, and you only have so much AP, so you got to like really pick and choose different things, do some math. I wish the game put me in a position to where I had to like change that a lot more, sort of like how FF7 does with the materia system, where you're constantly cycling out your materia for different fights and so forth. It really only became necessary in the Ansem fight. Other than that, I just kind of put my favorite stuff on there and left it be. But for Ansem, I had to change my whole kit and go, oh, okay, this isn't working, so let me move these points around so I can get this move. Let me change these items out so that I'm resistant to darkness, which is his element, and let me do all these different things so that I can actually beat this fucking boss. Because how fucking terrible is that fucking boss?
Bad.
Awful. I mean so like it's split up into those that like last gauntlet, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yep. That run from fighting him on the beach, fighting the giant Heartless in the tree, and then fighting him in the tree, that was the most difficult time I had in my playthrough of this game.
I agree.
I know it's bad. I love that gauntlet. I love that gauntlet because it really meant I have a vivid memory of being up early before school and finally finishing that gauntlet. I think I finished like the first part of that gauntlet before school, and then I came home after school and finished the boat fight. Like when he turns into a boat.
Yeah. That was the thing where like I think
you just leave your PS2 on all night, all day.
I got to that fight and I was like, oh, I'm for the first time in my playthrough this time. This wasn't the case for my first playthrough. I was underleveled for most of my first playthrough. But this was the first time I was like, oh, I'm underleveled. So I went to go grind. I leveled up once, maybe twice, probably just I think it was once, and then I got like close, so I would level up in the actual boss fight. So like, but I leveled up not enough to like really make a big difference, right? But it was then that I realized how cool the changing your build system is in this game, because the difference between pre and post rebuild was incredible. Like the giant heartless guy with the weird Medusa head. I think rebuilding myself, he has a cycle of attacks, right? And he goes in that cycle every time. I think that took like 5 cycles to get through all of his attacks and then go back and he would do it again. He would just it was on loop. Like his attack cycle was exactly the same every single time. He never changes it. It went through like.
I assume
5
you're talking
times.
about the Guardian. I don't know.
The big black motherfucker.
Oh,
in
the one
tree.
you fight in the beginning. The one you fight in the beginning.
In between the 2 Ansem fights. So there's Ansem
No,
on the
I'm
beach,
saying,
and then there's big black thing in the tree, and then there's Ansem in the tree.
Yeah. So that's the same. I think it's what's it called? It's Dark Side. It's the same one you fight in the very beginning of the game.
Yeah. So his attack pattern is the same every single time. I probably went through 5 cycles of that attack pattern pre-rebuild. Post-rebuild, I got him in less than 1. Like, he was like 3/4 through his cycle, and I killed him. And I was like, oh, this makes a huge difference. Oh, okay. I wish the game put me in positions to where I would play with that more, because this is cool. This is that cool RPG stuff that Square Enix is really good at, and it's just not necessary until the end.
Well,
all right, I'm done.
What
Renting-
Keyblade were y'all using?
I used.
That's a great question.
You
I don't
always change them
remember.
out though. There's not like one.
I mean,
you
yeah,
really
you
use.
change. Eventually, it got to the point to where I started choosing, and I started being like, I don't like that one as much.
I would say the one I used the longest was the Olympus one.
Really,
Yeah.
the one I used the longest was the Little Mermaid one.
Oh, really?
That was the one I
Crab
used the
Claw.
longest.
Crab Claw goes so hard.
Crab Claw goes hard. I did eventually change it somewhere in Hollow Bastion. Oh my god, I didn't even talk about it. Fuck this game for breaking up the Hollow Bastion visits. Totally unnecessary. One of the worst things I've ever experienced in a fucking video game. Because you go through this level, it's confusing. It's this really terrible thing where they take all your powers away and then give them back for no reason. Donald and Goofy betray you for no reason. Fuck that.
They don't. They're meant to follow the key, you know.
Oh my god! And Phil,
And there's only one. There's only one Keyblade. Only one.
Only one. There's only one.
Only one.
Don't look at the box art for Kingdom Hearts 2. Phil, Hollow Bastion.
Yep.
There's an unfinished puzzle in it, down in the bottom in like the sewer things where you're moving the gates around. There's an unfinished puzzle in there where you're like pressing switches to like move walls around so you can get new access to new areas and so forth. There's a bit where you can see 2 different switches that lead you somewhere else that you can never get to. You can't get to these 2 switches. It's impossible because
there's a different entrance.
Clearly, the puzzle was meant to be longer than it is, but they didn't have time to finish it. So instead of subtracting anything, they just walled it off and said, all right, we got to get the game out.
I think he just gave you an answer.
What did he say?
I know what you're talking about. There's a different entrance to get into it. It's like very hidden. But I promise you, it's not unfinished.
No, I looked it up, and everybody online was like, yeah, you just can't. It's impossible to get to those 2 switches.
But
There's no way.
Switches. I thought you were talking about items.
No, the switches that move the walls. There's 2 switches you can't get to, and there's clearly like an alcove there that you can't like really see around that you're supposed to go down, but they've just walled that whole area off. And they didn't even wall it off with walls that like you can't see. Like it's just gates that you can see through. So I spent 20 minutes reconfiguring these walls, trying to figure out how to get to these fucking switches. You can't do it.
The issue here is
But at least, I agree that that's bad. It's bad that it's like that. But at least there's nothing like that you can't get, like as a result of that.
can't get those switches.
You can't get the
Right,
switches.
But yeah,
they don't
it
do
ain't meaningful.
anything.
I don't get the serotonin hit of you solved the puzzle.
But
Great.
yeah, see, that's
But
kind of the key
they don't
issue.
give you any reward, is what I'm saying. Like you can still finish the game. Like I've platinumed the game. Like there's nothing that's missing from. Yeah. So.
But I did that puzzle and just did it without having any issues whatsoever. Meanwhile, he spent so long on it.
I went to Connor. I was like, "How do you get through this puzzle?" He's like, "What are you talking about?"
And when I said that, I think the core issue is you're upset that I was able to effectively do a puzzle segment way more.
That's not it
efficiently
at
than
all.
you.
That's not it
And
at
then
all.
you're
You
trying to
didn't
come
even
up with
know
other
it was a
bullshit
puzzle. You
reasons.
just walked through the fucking area because that's all.
I
you
knew
have
it was
to
a
fucking
puzzle.
do.
I knew
Yeah,
it was a
it's
puzzle.
all right,
I just did it. So I'm just saying.
What does that even give you? Because you flip a switch and then a text box shows up, and I didn't read the text box because that's me. That's on me. That's my bad. Right? Something opens up later or something. I don't even think you need to go down there.
No. It unlocks the front doors.
Oh, okay.
to challenge the first Riku
Oh,
fight.
okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Boy, let's rank this bullshit. Not bullshit. Let's rank this.
Jesus.
Oh, also breaking up the Hollow Bastion thing was stupid. The second visit isn't really a second visit because you're not going to go anywhere else, and it's worse the next time around. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you've paid attention to this show before, we rank every game that we play.
I'm so sorry. I hate to interrupt. I did send you a text because I didn't want to interrupt Connor's thing, but you never enabled stream on Discord, so I haven't been able to see you guys. I've been working with the delay on Twitch.
Because of that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're just gonna keep moving.
Okay.
The list is as follows. There are 33 entries currently. Number 33 is Fable. 32, BioShock. 31, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. 30, Prey. 29, Tomb Raider. 28, Alan Wake. 27, Batman Arkham Asylum. 26, Uncharted 1. 25, Signalis. 24, Halo Combat Evolved. 23, Dead Cells. 22, Shadow of the Colossus. 21, Mario 64. 20, Resident Evil 4. 19, Portal. 18, Banjo-Kazooie. 17, Ratchet & Clank. 16, Pokemon Soul Silver. 15, Severed. 14, Resident Evil. 13, Chrono Trigger. 12, Dishonored. 11, Metal Gear Solid. 10, Shovel Knight. 9, Portal 2. 8, Doom 2016. 7, Yakuza 0. 6, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. 5, Hades. 4, Final Fantasy 7. 3, The Last of Us. 2, God of War Ragnarok. And number 1, the greatest game of all time, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
While you were doing that,
Audience, you're unable to see Fable at number 33 because I am blocking it. So,
real quick, Fantasy Critic. Who had Blueprints?
me?
You
Oh,
did?
you actually had it.
Yeah.
As of right now, you just got 94 on Metacritic.
Fuck
Well, that's
off.
Metacritic. Let me see OpenCritic.
Oh, it's OpenCritic. I'm pretty sure it's still 91.
It's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, let's derail this show to talk about something that.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
It
I
is
was
still,
looking
it
at
is still
things.
91. I had already mentioned this on Piggy Bank, and then you decided to bring it up again.
Phil, I'll allow you the first strike here. Where do you want to go with Kingdom Hearts 1?
Damn, you want me to go first, huh? All right. Just so you can tear me down and
You don't want me to
outvote
go first.
I was not sure on where to put this because I don't know. I wasn't able to ascertain exactly where I was able to put this, where I was going to be able to get away putting this rather. So, I'm going to be conservative here, and I'm going to say the new number 26.
Above Uncharted 1, below Signalis.
No, I think. No, yeah.
New number 25.
Above Signalis, below Halo Combat Evolved.
Yes.
That's his conservative take. That's him being conservative.
I'll do my conservative take, if you don't mind me going next.
Yeah, sure.
It's at the bottom.
Fuck you.
Not even
Fuck
like
you.
now.
Actually, fuck you.
Definitively true. So here's the problem.
Definitively
right?
true, he said.
Fable is not a fun game, right? But
No.
it's a boring game.
Very.
Kingdom Hearts, it would be boring until all of those negative facts come in, and it becomes a slightly frustrating game. Now,
Slightly,
yes. not immensely. Not like you're pulling your hair out over
Right.
and over and over again. But it's definitively below Fable, because Fable, you never would get into a combat encounter, and the level design not only didn't work, but it felt like aspects of the game weren't complete. Everything in Fable was complete. Maybe the vision wasn't as prime as it could have been, but at least I never was playing a part of that game and thinking they didn't spend enough time on this. They didn't have, they didn't know when to do dialogue. They didn't know what characters' faces were doing in a cutscene. They knew what they were doing all along. And there's no part of Fable where I can remember.
Let me ask you
like,
something.
I want to kill
Let me
myself
ask you
and stop
something.
playing. Yep.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Did you feel something when you were playing Kingdom Hearts?
At the very, very end, yes. Like in pause.
Did you feel something when you were playing Fable?
No.
Yeah.
But that's why it's above it, because Uncharted. Kingdom Hearts, a lot of the time I'm feeling something. It's not a positive feeling. It's a negative one or a disappointing one. Fable, at least it's a neutral experience. I'd take a neutral experience that I can get through a lot quicker than a game that overstays its welcome far after Fable would have concluded. Not to mention, a lot of the things, like, we kind of talked about it. I went in knowing I should fight every single enemy I come across. And so that's how I, conducted myself through the game. And I always felt like I was adequately leveled, especially at the end, where I wasn't having too hard of a time, but I wasn't having an easy time. That's for sure. Whereas as Fable, I didn't have to grind. I didn't have to deal with every combat encounter. I, in fact, would use.
I ran past so many enemies in Fable,
and at least the combat mechanics, the things that you unlock for your character, facilitate the completion of the game far more effectively than Kingdom Hearts does. So I could literally run past bullshit parts in Fable, whereas in this one I have to interact with them. The game forces you to say, "Hey, do you want to be able to fight the boss you're going to be facing at the end of this level or at the end of the game? Well, make sure you encounter every single enemy group along your path of completing a level and kill them so you can get their XP. Otherwise, you're fucked."
That's not true at all. You can absolutely skip past some enemies if you fought them before.
But then you have to fight them in the first place, which is not a good thing. Fable, even when you have to fight them, you can just get by them.
But do we not remember what we just talked about how we love the abilities that you gain in Kingdom Hearts? Whereas you talk about you talk about how you don't facilitate, none of the abilities facilitate satisfying endings to boss encounters. You literally need the abilities you get. You praised Fable. You're praising Fable? Are you fucking kidding me?
And that's more of a testament to
We've talked about how we feel nothing playing Fable. We remember our morning shits more than we remember Fable. And Fable.
But I never got to a point where I was begging for the game to be over with. Kingdom Hearts, at a certain point, I was like, I'm done. I'm tired of going through shitty level after shitty combat encounter after shitty combat encounter with no... at least Fable also has character. It has charm. The charm here is entirely bolstered up by Disney products. That's it. The game doesn't have its own identity to hinge itself on, whereas Fable at least does. And it's complete.
It does have its own identity. It's Kingdom Hearts.
Which is hammered into a better version of itself with 2 and even 3 as opposed to 1. Now, even the spin-offs do a better job at that.
I'm a little more split than Connor.
You're so stupid.
I'm a little more split than Connor is here.
Tavin, what's that about a cookie?
I told you not to do it. Hold on, let me get there.
You were kidding.
Let me get there.
You weren't doing it.
So the thing about it with me is, to me, this is a conversation of does it go above or below Fable? And the way I can rationalize it in my mind is that Fable is a boring, bland game, and it just made me feel nothing all the way through, right? But it wasn't objectively terrible in, the combat was the worst part, but overall, everything else was just kind of mid. It's a very just mid game. And so the way I rationalize it in my mind is Fable is a mayonnaise sandwich that's been left out on the counter for an hour, right? Whereas Kingdom Hearts is a really big chocolate chip cookie. A really big chocolate chip cookie. Probably about 45% of those chocolate chips aren't chocolate chips. They're turds. They're pieces of shit in my really big chocolate chip cookie, right? And so even though I might be eating the cookie and it's a little underbaked, kind of doughy in a bad way, and it just doesn't taste the best, right? But, it's still better than a mayonnaise sandwich until I bite into that fucking turd. And I'm just at a place where it's just I would have rather have done anything else than bite into this fucking turd. And then I just keep eating, and there's another turd, and another one, and another one. And it gets to the point to where I'm not even sure if there's chocolate chips in it at all. And so, to me, I would rather pick up the fucking mayonnaise sandwich that's been on the counter for an hour and force myself to eat that. I'm not having a good time. Not having a good time. But I would rather do that. And so I'm signing with Connor here. This is the bottom of the list for me.
As it should be.
Y'all are fucking brainless.
Hey, take that energy and apply it to Arkham Asylum. That's how I feel.
I'm sorry. Putting this game over
BioShock even.
BioShock even. I didn't like BioShock. I was the lowest on BioShock. I've got a problem with BioShock. That's an insane take. That's an insane take to put this game above.
I said that. knowing y'all were gonna go lower. I at no point thought y'all were gonna go below fucking Fable.
It's below Fable.
It's below Fable,
What do you
man.
want me to do? I can't do anything about it.
I mean, Fable works as a game. Fable doesn't have an unfinished puzzle at the end of it that you spend 20 minutes looking at going, what do I do?
Puzzle. Fucking end the shit. Roll the fucking thing.
Again, Phil, Batman Arkham Asylum.
Now,
Just say it.
Connor,
Just say it.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. We after episode 30, we integrated a tiered system where we had different tier levels for it. You know, your S rank, your A ranks, your B. Right now, the lowest we've got is a D tier with Fable.
Fuck you.
I'm tempted. It's not.
It's not.
It's not an F.
We're not there yet.
It's not an F yet. No, it's not.
But it's
it's going to be for the when the list gets more filled out. It's probably going to be the king of bottom of
bottom of D tier.
A long while. Yeah. But it's not F tier.
All right. I'll allow that. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been your Two Penny Games. Two Penny.
We're
Game
not done.
Club.
We have to roll the wheel.
We
fucking
do.
this part of the
This
fucking
is the fun part.
thing. God damn it. Anyways, I always forget this.
Learn
part.
how to run the fucking show. Apparently,
man.
your brain is fucking fried.
Yeah,
it
because
goes
it's fried
below
because I had to
Fable.
play a
Forgets
piece
how
of
his own
shit video
fucking-
game, Phil.
Forgets how
The
his own
game is
fucking
shit.
show works.
It's a piece
because
of
he doesn't
shit,
understand.
and
He
you're
doesn't
a piece
understand
of
how
shit
much
for
of a better
liking it.
fucking game
You should fucking
it is than
figure out
Fable.
some goddamn
Oh, he's
taste
fucking
instead of
stupid.
fucking forcing us to play these fucking garbage video games. Sonic Adventure, fucking bullshit.
It's going to be an F.
Yeah, get ready. Get fucking ready for my next choice.
So, the way we do this is
I didn't want to turn heel on this fucking show, but if I have to punish you guys for this kind of shit, absolutely I fucking will.
You're gonna lose every vote, Phil. You're gonna lose all of them. I'm so glad we got.
Yeah, but Sonic Adventure will belong at the bottom. Sonic Adventure will belong at the bottom.
Yeah, it will.
Like Fable.
It's bad.
Like
Fable. Thank you.
Damn it.
Thank you. Dumbass.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
Anyway.
I won this one.
So, anyways, there's we alternate
lost
between
it, too.
one of us picking, and then we have a spinner wheel pick a random game for us. But when we get to the spinner wheel, each of us is allowed to veto a game, take it out of consideration. However, if you vetoed it last time we did the wheel, you can't veto it again. So last time we did Fire Emblem Three Houses, we did Death Stranding, and we did BioShock 2. This time around, so those three games cannot be taken out of the list. So instead, we got to take something else out. If you choose to take it out, you can choose not to take it out. Connor, what did you choose to take out this time around?
I think I changed. Persona 3.
Ah, fuck, Connor, no!
Yep. Because I've just been playing Persona 3 Reload. God, I want to play Persona 4. I want to get to that, but
It's
I know
so
I need
good.
to play
It's
3
so
first.
fucking good.
And I'm going to need some time apart from the Persona 3 Reload before I start pushing for that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm lost. Oh, I'm scrolled all the way down. God, it's a long scroll wheel. Get up here.
Yeah, you gotta have all. How do you use the spinner? I will say while he's doing that, Phil, Einkoon in chat agrees with me and Tavin.
No, I read it.
Oh,
Shout out Einkoon, bro. Having some goddamn taste.
It's true.
It's supposed to be on my fucking side, Rike.
At this time. At this time, buddy.
Delicious. He's a delicious boy. I love that boy. Phil, what were you taking out of the list this time around?
Fable 2.
Just
He's gonna be so mad when we put Fable 2 higher too.
I can tell you from my experience with that game, it's higher.
No, I know Fable 2 should be higher than Fable.
Well, yeah, I guess that means, yeah. Oh, well, you didn't put it Kingdom Hearts below Fable, so I guess that doesn't mean the same as what I was just saying. Yeah, just type it all out.
I guess
Is it on here?
I thought the Control F worked, but it's on there. It's definitely on there. I just gotta find it. Anyways, Persona 3,
There it is.
and Fable 2. Did I already get Fable 2 or no? I did. Where are you, Fable?
It's probably towards the top because isn't it like the top down, like the most recent one is at the top that you add?
No, the most recent one is at the bottom.
I'd go to the bottom because you would have added it.
But I would have just edited it, so it would have stated wherever it was.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Okay. I'm gonna abstain from voting this time because
Is that allowed?
Death Stranding. Yeah, I've done it. I've done it before. Death Stranding is in the list, and we can't take it out. And I'm currently playing through Death Stranding. I'm almost at the end of it, and I don't want to play it again. So
Guess
I'm gonna,
what? Guess what? You're gonna have to restart it.
I'm gonna include as much lowered statistical chance as much as possible. So we're spinning the wheel, boys.
We're
we're
going to
gonna
be playing
restart it.
Castlevania. It's going to be Castlevania.
That would be cool. Fuck.
Oh.
God damn it.
Well,
Son of a bitch.
I got no problem with that.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Let's go.
I almost took that one out.
Ah,
God
yeah,
damn
funny.
it. Son of a fucking bitch. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, during the month we're in April. During the month of
That's
April,
fucking
we will all be
solid.
playing Legend
Very.
of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Please join us at the beginning of May for our review of that. Can't wait to do it again. If you want my opinions, there's a video out already on it.
On the bright side, you can get through that game fairly quickly.
Yeah, fairly quickly, sure.
You don't even have to fight the Guardians. You can literally just go straight to Ganondorf.
You can do that.
Try.
That's gonna be my whole playtime experience. It's just fuck, I can't get him, man. I don't know what to do. Anyways,
It's what? Why does you have so much health? It's so hard.
anyways, so join us at the beginning of May for that review. Can't wait. And until next time, have a great time, gentlemen. Say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.
Bye.